Thank you very much. What I'd like to do for the next few minutes is to give you a little bit of background on Dell SecureWorks, since it's a fairly new organization, or at least we're new as a part of Dell. Go through a little bit of background on the internet security industry, and Val, I think I'm going to give you a little bit of a advertising pitch here for the voting, and then talk about what I think is the biggest challenge facing the industry today, and then George's leadership position and how we can help. So SecureWorks was founded in 1999. What we do is provide managed and monitored internet security services, consulting services, and threat intelligence services, basically providing the data that we have to our clients around the globe. We use the data and the expertise with our technology and provide that to our clients in a way to protect many of our clients, or all of our clients, I should say. We do that for 5 of the Fortune 10, so we start all the way up at large organizations and go down through small and medium-sized businesses. We have 3,000 customers around the globe, and for the last 9 years have added a new customer every business day. We have 700 employees, the majority of which are based here in Atlanta, and we've now become a part of a 100,000 employee organization with joining Dell as of February the 8th. Dell has put an increased investment into SecureWorks and an increased focus on what we do from a security perspective. Starting with smartphones, tablets, laptops, Thank you. There must have been a worm or a virus that got in this. And we do our services, I think I've got both these working now, in a vendor agnostic manner. Basically, I think if you look, most of the tablets probably are iPads that are out there in the industry, and we're going to continue to provide our services in a vendor agnostic manner using the best of breed technologies in the market. So we partner with Cisco, Checkpoint, SourceFire, Qualys, Palo Alto, IBM, HP, those types of companies in order to provide vendor agnostic security services. A little bit of background on the company. Now, for the industry, and I'm in a technology group, so I know people are going to start checking this, but if you go to Google and type in the word hacker, anybody have any idea how many hits you'll get? As of earlier this week, it was 172 million. And every time I've done this over the last 9 years, it has always, the third one down has always been how to become a hacker. So you can pretty easily get on Google and in probably a half an hour to an hour, join the dark side of the world from a hacking community perspective. I will caution you that if you do that, your computer will quickly be infected, and you'll need to call Val or one of the internet security companies to help protect you, because those areas are monitored. Matter of fact, if you put a brand new computer on the internet today, if you pull it out of a box, Apple or Dell or IBM, or Lenovo I should say, or HP, brand new computer out of the box, you put it on the internet, it is typically somewhere between 4 to 6 minutes before somebody scans the computer to decide if they want to go in it. To talk a little bit more about how the industry is real, there's actually a book called 2600. It's the Hacker Quarterly. I've brought this quarter's edition with me just to show you it's real. 2 interesting pages. If you flip, one is various, I hope there's no one here from UPS, but it's various vulnerabilities in the UPS shipping system. Or I'll speak a little later on some examples of how executives in corporations, or actually the federal government, need to be a little concerned. But the back page of this shows how to find information on people using the internet. And we'll walk you through in pretty easy speak how to learn more about and social engineer and use the internet to find out more information about individuals. What's effectively happened, and the internet security industry is a fairly young industry for the most part. Hacking goes back for as long as people could steal, or there were folks trying to social engineer and take money from individuals. But the internet security industry in and of itself is only probably 15 to 20 years old. Matter of fact, we really ought to thank Chris Klaus and Tom Noonan from ISS, who were really the founders of the internet security industry here in Atlanta, But it started with script kiddies or lone soldiers who would go out and hack for fun. Kevin Mitnick is one of the most famous in the mid-'90s, who was arrested 3 different times for hacking into organizations. Matter of fact, the 3rd time he was arrested because he called the corporation, called into the IT organization, said, this is so-and-so, gave the president's name, said, I forgot my logon ID and password, social engineered, left the voicemail to that effect. Interestingly enough, the guy in the IT shop called Kevin back, gave him the login ID and password. And the only way Kevin was arrested was because the FBI agent had been tracking him so many times that they recognized his voice on the voicemail system. But Kevin made millions of dollars and became famous, so a lot of people started following, saying it's an easy way to make money. But what's effectively happened is the losses and the amount of activity have gone up over time, and the industry's evolved from sort of the script kiddies of the world, and I don't mean to call Kevin Mitnick a script kiddie, but the script kiddies of the world, to gangs loosely affiliated, to organized crime, to really where there's state-sponsored things of that nature, or state-sponsored, I should say, hacking or gathering of information. I was at a meeting yesterday and was informed that, without disclosing the country, that there's a country in Europe where the government believes or has found that 45% of the computers, the government-owned computers, have spyware from China on it and are sending data, reconnaissance data, back to China. I'm going to go through Zeus in a little more detail than Val did, just to give you a more of an example. But what I'm really trying to talk about here is how the industry, the hacking industry, is a real business. So the first thing, and there's 4 different parts to this. So on the far left, there's basically a company or a Trojan called Cote, which goes out there and you can buy it on the internet through Google. It creates botnets, the types of things that Damballa tries to fight, or fights, I should say. And it uses LinkedIn to grab emails, and it sends out a bunch of phishing attempts. And the second organized group in this group is one that's called Avalanche, and they are believed to be responsible for 2/3 of the phishing attempts that happened in 2009 in the world. And you can rent you can rent time from them. They'll send the phishing attempts out, and then the Zeus Trojan that Val referred to, if your browser is infected, it will basically go down to your computer and begin to take information off of your computer, where they can gather information over time and then commit financial fraud. And they'll get mules. The 4th group is a group of mules. Many of you have probably received emails that say, work from home for free. Let us use your bank account effectively so that we can put some money in it, and then we'll transfer it elsewhere and you'll keep a piece. There are actually people that click on those emails and say, great. And those are the 4 types of organizations in the Zeus Trojan. This was clearly the largest of the attack vectors, and I'm glad Val and I both agree in the data that she has relating to what Zeus did in the last 12 months. And I'll give you one more slide after this that'll show you some of that. The Avalanche company or organization that hosts websites is what, if you look at the example here, it'll show you the 2 different websites where they take a website, scrape it, and added just a couple of new input areas for you to put data in, which is how they begin to get data off of your computer and from you to commit the financial fraud and steal information from you. This chart shows you, and the more red the dot is and the bigger the red is where all of the botnet information and the traffic was relating to Zeus from January to June 30th of 2010. So you can see it's clearly throughout the world. The attack vectors have moved. This shows from 2006 to 2010 how the hackers were coming in, which attack vector they used, all the way through physical, or the data letter, physical, coming in and doing some sort of social engineering. Clearly has moved much more to the web and being able to steal data through web applications. If you go back to kind of when web applications were first written, in most instances, we all jumped onto the web. Somebody wrote an application to get a company on the web, but there's no security underlying it. And what's effectively happening here is the hackers are continuing to exploit that. So I think this is going to get into what the challenge is and where Georgia is from a global perspective in this. And I think effectively we're in an arms race today. The average breach that happened on a company in 2010 was about $7.2 million. And there was a breach about every other day of the 365 days in the year. And we have 2.2 million internet security professionals to combat these bad guys. There's about estimated to be about 1 billion computers that are on the internet today, and we have 2.2 million people trying to combat the bad guys in this situation. The big challenge is to find talent. Some of you may have seen in the Business Chronicle recently that Dell's making an increased investment in SecureWorks, and we're looking to hire a lot of people. For those who are recruiters in the audience, I have nothing to do with hiring and cannot approve any of those hires. There are about 100 universities in the United States, like Georgia Tech and Kennesaw State University, that have degrees in information security. But it's believed that the demand outstrips supply of kids graduating from college by about 20 or 30 to 1. And I can tell you, we struggle and have, SecureWorks about 9 years ago had 35 employees. We have a little over 700 today and are working hard to bring more and more on board. The next bullet up here, I think, relates to the fact that when the dot-com bust happened, I think a lot less college students focused on information security and computer science degrees. It plunged to about 8,000 graduates a year. It's continued to increase over time, and I think it needs to continue to increase rapidly. From an information security perspective in Georgia, and I'm going to show the map in a minute as well, we have over 100 information security companies located here with a presence here in Georgia. Over 25% of the worldwide spend on information security is affiliated with a company that has a presence here in Georgia. So we clearly are a national and international leader in this area, and I think have the ability to continue to grow and take over the number one or become the clear dominant player in this market. From a size of market perspective, and I'm going to touch on this and add a little bit more to what Sanjeev said, it's actually $20 billion is in internet security software and hardware. There's another $6 billion in managed and monitored security services, and another $8 billion in internet security services. And the map with over the 100 companies from an internet security perspective located in the state of Georgia. Thank you very much.